You might be in business for a year, you might be in business for 20 years, and you know that you have important work, but then when it gets time for you to actually tell the world about your important work, you freeze, right? You turn a camera on like this right here, and you go, I don't know what to say. Or you get ready, you do know what to say. You actually did a video, good job you. And then you sit down to actually post it, and you don't know where to post it. Should you be posting it on YouTube? Should you post it to Facebook, Instagram? What about Twitter? What about Snapchat? Should I create a blog post about it? Like, there's too many choices, and we sort of freak out and then don't do anything. And then that spills into us chasing shiny objects, right? Like those, if you're in my tribe, you know, like we get distracted very easily. And when this thing doesn't work, or we're frustrated by this thing, we go look for the next thing. And the cycle repeats itself over and over and over. And at some point, what happens is we start to worry about money. Like, listen, in the beginning of your business, it doesn't occur that way. You don't worry about money. You're just sort of high on the feeling of possibility. You're like, oh, I'm going to make $1 million, or I'm going to make this big business. But over time, as you repeat this cycle of like not knowing what to say, not knowing what to do, and then getting shiny object syndrome and chasing things, getting distracted, you lose momentum, you get no traction, and that's why we start to worry about money. And it doesn't stop there, does it? Because when you're worried about money, how does that affect your confidence? Like, look, when you start to go into your business and you have to make some really tough decisions, but your confidence has been rocked because you are worried about money, then you don't play all out. In some ways we hide, right? We're like, just please give me a little bit of relief. Give me a little bit of hope. But sometimes hope doesn't come in business. Sometimes you get to face long seasons in the dark night of the soul, in the shadows. So what do? How do we fix that? Well, there are some ways. You don't have to be stuck there. In fact, I want you to consider for a moment that you in your marketing, if you have important work in the world, I want you to consider that you could actually be fired up about what you have to say. That you would know specifically and clearly and passionately what you want to say. In fact, every time you said something online and you went back and watched it or read it or listened to it, that you would be inspired by your own content. You'd be like, wow, I was on fire today. Today was a good day. And that experience would happen to you day after day after day. When you turned a camera on, you knew what to say. Then when you had your content, once you'd captured your message, then you went and you knew exactly where to put it. You knew why you put it there. You know how to put it there. You know which channels you want to put it on. And all of that starts to breathe certainty into you. It starts to breathe a fire in your belly. And instead of starting to fear money and get distracted, we actually start to rise into confidence. I think that's what most of us want in business. We got into business to have autonomy, right? We wanted to answer to ourselves. We wanted to create our own destiny. But when you don't have certainty, you feel like you're in prison. You don't feel like you're free. But the flip side of that is once you start to understand it's very simple. Once you start to understand what to say, when the camera comes on, listen, you know what to say when you're having coffee with somebody. You're sitting down and you're just having a conversation. It's easy. But the minute you have to market yourself, we freeze. But it doesn't have to be that way. And when you start to learn the simple process of how to capture your message, your important work, you show up knowing what to say in your marketing. Then you show up knowing what to do with your marketing. All of a sudden, you're not actually distracted anymore. You're clearly focused. And with focus comes consistency. Now listen, I don't have to tell you, right? If we have shiny object syndrome, most of us struggle with consistency. And I'm just going to shoot it straight right here. If you're not consistent, then how are you possibly going to have consistent income? If you don't have consistent marketing, how are you going to have consistent income? You can't do enough coffee appointments in a month to try to create that consistent income. You need to reach a larger audience. And if you have important work in your soul, then you know that it has to go beyond the first 100 people you find. You have a message for thousands. And here's the good news. Once you start to show up to your business and your marketing, knowing what to say and on fire by what you say, knowing where to share it, knowing where to post it, right? What to do, and then being consistent and focused, what happens is you stop worrying about money because you know that your financial future is secure. This happened for me when I got into business at the age of 24. I just had a lot of energy. I was just hyper me, excited about the world, excited for possibility. And then year after year after year of not figuring it out, not knowing exactly what to say. Look, my heart was in it. I didn't know what to say. In fact, if somebody had come alongside of me and helped me figure out what my message was, I actually probably would have had a lot more success and results earlier in my life. Because I was the right candidate for that. I was the guy that should have had somebody come alongside and said, this is what you're trying to say. I just couldn't sift through all the ideas in my head to figure it out. So as I moved through my business career, I'm 17 years into business now, and what I started to see was that these themes showed up over and over and over again in my life. And through that, over time, it took me 17 years. It doesn't have to take you that long. It took me 17 years to start to collect the puzzle pieces of my message and put them all together. And here's what I found. The first principle or mindset, actually the first stage that's going to move you from worried about money to not worried about money, is you're going to have to realize that you have fire in you. You have a message in you. You just have to capture it. It's already there. Just like it was already there for me at 24, and I just had to spend 17 years figuring it out, it's already there for you. So the first stage you're going to move through is finding it. You got to find it. What is it? What is your message? The mindset behind that, I want to share this mindset with you. You have to realize that conviction earns attention. And in this day and age in marketing, attention is everything. Attention is where it starts. And your message, when it's delivered with conviction, that's what earns attention. So it's not like, listen, this is where people get sidetracked with marketing. They go, oh, I'm supposed to talk about my industry or my profession, or you get all in your head about it, and what the answer lives in your heart. It lives in your conviction. Conviction comes from the heart. So from that place, from that heart place, you're going to find it. You're going to find that conviction. Okay? And then you're going to understand mentally, right, in your head, your mindset, that conviction earns attention. And then what do we do with that? Well, the action step in that, right, is then you have to go write down the 2 to 5 things that you know are your message for this planet. That these are the things you're here to talk about. It may not be your profession, and you need to set that aside for a minute, because we're talking about something more important here in your marketing, which is impact and conviction. Until you have attention, people don't listen to you. You're ignored. So you have to find first the thing, like the conviction, because that earns you attention. Now, from there, here's the second stage you're going to move into. The second stage you move into is capturing. Once you find it, you've got to capture it. You've got to capture that fire, right? The mindset is that you have to capture the fire. See, sometimes we don't think of it as capturing it. We think we have to go create it out here, outside of ourselves. And so we go do videos that have nothing to do with what we're passionate about, and we're trying to generate something over here rather than capturing what's already inside, right? One of the things, the action item in this is how we do it for our clients, right? The easiest way to do that is to have somebody interview you. When you're being interviewed about the things you care about, your passion wells up, your conviction wells up, and we capture it by recording that moment. When somebody interviews you and we record the whole recorded interview, we now have you in a convicted state that will inspire and influence others. Which brings us to stage 3. Stage 3 is that you start to realize I have this content, I've captured it. But how do I get it out in the world where people want to consume it? Well, you've got to produce it. The third stage is you've got to produce the thing you just captured. We'll call it content. You have to produce your content. Now, listen, I'm all about authenticity. You know, if you followed any of my stuff for any length of time, you know that I'm all about authenticity in marketing. And there are some other things that we have to do to just grab people's attention. Sometimes it's your message, and sometimes it's in the production of it. It can be as simple as a music track. It can be as simple as an intro or an outro animation. but there's something that you're going to do to produce this message that you've captured into the world. Now, the mindset with that is that content expands your brand. Content expands your brand if you set it up that way. So you want to find some brand elements, whether it's your logo, fonts, color schemes, energy, the energy of your brand. You want to bring some brand elements into your captured content. And with that, the action step in there, what you're going to do with that is you're going to post it, right? You're actually going to go out and you're going to you're going to edit it. Before you post it, you're going to edit it in such a way that you have those brand elements. Okay, that brings us to the fourth stage. The fourth stage now in getting your marketing, your important workout, so that you're not worried about money and you're secure in your financial future, is you need to share it. This is the part where most people freak out, because now you actually have to take your stuff, your message, and you have to actually be vulnerable and share it with the world. This is hard for people. How many of you have tons of videos in your camera roll that you've never shared? How many of you have photos that you meant to put on Instagram and you didn't share? Also, with sharing, here's the other thing about this. Sometimes we actually will create the content, but then we hope to the internet gods that they bring the traffic to us. And this is not sharing. It's one thing to post it, that's where you start, but you have to go above and beyond. In this day and age, you have to go network your content. So the mindset you have to have here in the fourth stage is that content creates the conversation. Look, ultimately, when you make a sale, it's going to happen from a conversation. If you want to have the conversation, just know that content starts that conversation. Content is leverage for your conversations. So the mindset you have to have going into your marketing is that content simply starts the conversation. It doesn't make the sale. Content starts the conversation, and from there, the action that you'll take to really move this out into the world is you're going to network, you're going to post and network your content. Don't just wait for the internet gods to deliver you people. Go in your next networking event, at your next coffee appointment, at your next chamber meeting, with your friends and family on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. You're going to start to share proactively your content and your message with the world. And from that, you'll start to have repeat and recurring fans who want to be a part of the conversation you're facilitating in the world. If this is making sense for you, and you feel like this is the kind of help, listen, if you're like me, where you get distracted easily, and you don't know what to say, and you don't know what to do with the content you capture, and you're worried about your financial future. Look, when I was 24, I just wish somebody would have come alongside of me and found all my energetic passion and said, this is what your message is. If that's you, and you're like, I feel like there's something inside of me and I just need to know, like, I need someone to focus it. Then what I want you to do is go to myclaritycall.com. myclaritycall.com. And on the page, you'll schedule time with me and we'll have a conversation to see how I might be able to help you find your message, hone your message, and share it in the world so that you feel secure in your financial future.